Hi everybody, Craig LaMere, Mod Studios here. This month my article is on black and white photography and my approach to it. In the article I talk about how I shoot black and whites in my studio versus how I shoot black and whites on location. I also talk about thinking in a colored world versus thinking in a black and white world. For me, I shoot specifically for black and white. I know a lot of people don't do that. Most people will shoot colored images and then find some and convert them over to black and white. But I would challenge you to go out, if that's what you're doing, and shoot specifically for black and white. And you'll find out that once you think not so much in colors as so much as you think in highlights versus shadows and the tones in between, you're going to get, I believe, a more rich black and white image, and a black and white image that has a lot more character, because like I said, when you're shooting specifically for it, your mind's in a different place than if you're shooting just for color. When I'm in my studio and I'm shooting black and white images, I keep it very, very simple. I either shoot on a black background, a white background, or I will shoot on a gray muslin background if I want some texture in the image. Also, when I'm shooting in studio, it's very contrasty, and so I'm using modifiers that will give me the ability to pinpoint the light exactly where I want it. And those modifiers I use in studio, I use strip lights, I'll use beauty dishes, and I'll use my barn doors. When I'm using strip lights in the studio for black and whites, I always have an egg crate in them. And the reason why I do is that egg crate allows me to pinpoint the light exactly where I want it. And when I'm shooting my beauty dishes for black and white photography, I always use a grid. And once again, all the grid does is it directs the light to exactly where I want it, and it doesn't let the light go all over. Because when I'm shooting black and white in my studio, like I said, I want it super contrasty, so I don't want to flood the air with light. When I'm on location, it's a little bit different. Usually when I'm on location, I'm not using strobes for my black and whites, I'm just using natural light. And so when you're using natural light on location, there's a few things I believe you have to take into consideration. One is the color range of the location that you're at. Like right now in Idaho, everything's super green. And so if I'm shooting a black and white image and everything's green, I don't want to have my subject wearing greens or blues, because when I take it in to convert it, everything's going to be in that same color palette. And so I don't have a lot of things to have a lot of contrast in. So everything's going to be kind of muddy and not very cool. And so right now, where everything's green, I would have my subjects wear red, because that's the opposite. And so when you're converting those colors, you're going to have a green channel and you're going to have a red channel. And so that way you're going to be able to create a lot of contrast and separation in those colors, and it's going to make your picture a lot more interesting. Like I said, read the article. I think there's a lot of good stuff in there, and hopefully you'll get a different approach or mindset to shooting black and whites than maybe you had in the past. And like I said, I challenge you to shoot specifically for black and white images and see how it turns out. Thank you guys very much, and I'll see you next month.